something about Cyberpunk and Trump doing stuff with the EU. Why is it Cyberpunk? What was predicted already in the 80s?
Well, yeah, the Cyberpunk 2020 game that came out. When did it come out? Cyberpunk 2020. I think it came out in like 1986, 87, or something like that, or 89. I'm not exactly sure exactly which year it came out. Um, yeah, so it came out in the late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, and it had certain predictions about how the U.S. collapsed as a world power, which is actually, as far as I know, the most realistic prediction I've ever seen in any cyberpunk thing ever. A lot of times it's like kind of like this kind of very vague, like, yeah, they got corrupt and it's a corporate, turned into a corporatocracy and kleptocracy and all this stuff. And the government was taken over by companies and all this stuff, blah blah. But it's all kind of vague and whatever. But the Cyberpunk 2020 lore is very specific in what happened, and it's like scarily specific because of what is happening in the last couple of weeks with the new Trump administration. It's like, okay, so the thing that kind of like started the collapse of the U.S. in the cyberpunk lore is that the Panama Canal was a point of contention because the U.S. thought the Panamanians didn't handle the canal the way they agreed upon when they handed over the canal to the Panamanians, and they wanted to take control of it, but China had deals with Panama for the canal, so it wasn't that easy. It was this whole thing, and then because of all this annoying politics thing that was happening there, the EU started to see the USA as an untrustworthy partner. So they started to divest away from the USA
Mm,
as a partner. And
yeah.
that is like scary because this is exactly what's happening. Trump and the US started talking to Panama about the Panama Canal, about it, Panama not like handling the canal properly, and because the Chinese were also investing in the Panama Canal. Now I'm talking about real life, by the way. Now I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the game lore anymore. I'm talking about real life. And now because of the way Trump is handling their foreign policy, the EU is starting to trust the US less. So it's like I've been watching the last few weeks of the Trump administration, and my mind was being blown with it, like how did Mike Pondsmith, the writer, the main writer, the main creator of Cyberpunk, how is this guy from the future? You know what I mean?
Because
It's
he
like,
was so accurate, you mean?
yeah, it's crazy accurate. Also, there's like this whole part about this new super drug that flooded the USA as part of the
Fentanyl.
issue. Yeah, fentanyl. You know, it's like what is going on? That came after. It's like so crazy how much this game predicted, and it's like it's literally the most accurate prediction I've ever seen in any cyberpunk thing I've ever written, I've ever read or seen or listened to or whatever. It's like it's so scary how accurate it is. They even predicted, like, in the rule, this is all in the rule book, by the way. This all this stuff, these lore excerpts.
What do you
And
mean with the rulebook?
yeah, it's an RPG. It's a pen and paper RPG. So it's like it has like
Right.
the rule book has like story parts as
Right.
well in it.
Right. Yeah.
And they also released like books and stuff like that, adjacent media. You know, they do that kind of stuff. But there's also some parts in the rulebook about like the current, about how like that explains the current like kind of like woke agenda thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it predicted a lot of things. all I mean, it didn't only predict the issues with like Trump and politics. It also predicted like social issues that the U.S. would be facing as part of his collapse. So I'm gonna read a bit. This is an excerpt from the Cyberpunk 2020 rule book that came. Which version was this? Let me see. I don't remember which. It doesn't show which version, but it was like this one was published in the 90s. So let me see. Basically, it has a part where it says diversity and unity. That's the headline, and it says it is now accepted amongst historical scholars that in the decades before the collapse, America suffered from the sickness of racism and cultural identity. um, Everyone wanted to be seen as special. Every group had to be equal to or preferably better than its neighbors and fought to protect its special rights. If anyone had something that someone else wanted, they were pointed as racist, sexist, elitist, or worse. The divisive me first attitude eventually tore the fabric of American culture apart, caused it to self destruct in a fireball of competing ideologies, none of which
Whoa.
truly recognized each other's validity. Diversity led inexorably to anarchy.
Holy shit.
So it's like,
Well,
you know,
so from which year is this year rule book?
this I think this is from the 1994 rule book. Let me see. But it's okay, this one's published in 1994. It's not from directly from the rule book. It's from one of the adjacent materials that they published. But it's like crazy how accurate this is, because we're seeing this a lot in the US these days, because they have these social issues that are like completely dividing the country. Wherever you stand on these social issues, it's a fact
Hmm.
that they're being divided heavily. And we've seen
Yeah.
Trump talking about the Panama Canal, where and the EU is like trusting the US less. So all of these things are kind of stacking up, and we're really headed towards the Cyberpunk 2020 world if things keep going like this. You know.
Whoa. This prediction. It sounds so accurate, but how? What was the social trend back then?
Well. I mean,
Were
we
there
were
even signs like that the polarization would be like that in the future?
not really. Well, yeah. I mean, we just came off the Cold War. The Cold War ended in like 1991, 92, and we just started this. What do you call it? um I kind of remember the 90s. I remember in the 90s there was a lot of stuff about like what do you call it, tolerance, at least in the Netherlands. A lot of like you have to tolerate people, and we have to live
Yeah.
together, melting pot, all this stuff. And I'm not sure exactly how they got the idea that this could be something that resulted from it, because at the time everything was very positive. I mean, the world was
Yeah.
like, wow, we did it. And it in the West, Europe, and in the US, it felt like they won. The US won, the West won, Europe won, NATO won. I mean, Francis Fukuyama came out with his most famous book. What was it? The end of let me see, the end of history and the last man, talking about like how like how like the politics of the West won over the Soviet Union, and how it's like the last the last man, this like the last ideology to be standing, and this is the future. It was all very positive at the time. So that this was written in a period like that is pretty crazy, actually, because I mean, who would think about it,
Yeah.
in those periods. So they were very good at at writing, at somehow like understanding certain things about the human experience or human thinking that is like very unique. I mean, I said earlier, I said Mike Bondsmith, but of course, like the lore of Cyberpunk was written by multiple people, and I'm sure there was like a lot of back and forth and a lot of discussion of what to put in the game or not, and whatever, blah blah. And the fact that they as a collective came up with these stories, or these lore bits at least, really shows how well connected they were to everything around them, and how uh, actually how skillful they are in seeing the future through the cyberpunk lens, and like understanding geopolitics and all that kind of stuff, which is very rare for like game developers. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what
Yeah.
game beyond like Kojima? What other game actually has like actual
Political
predictions?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even Kojima,
Or
yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean political stuff in general
yeah, exactly. I mean, they have
in video
like
games.
exactly they have like their own like in world politics, like
Sure.
that's their story. But Cyberpunk 2077, and of course, what do you call it? The tabletop game, the pen and paper game. The politics are very reminiscent of like real life, just like Kojima games, like Metal Gear Solid 2, when Raiden had to confront the colonel, and it turned out the colonel was like an AI, and that entire conversation is insane. It's completely
I
like,
mean everything is insane. Every
yeah,
conversation in Metal Gear Solid is insane.
yeah, but that
But
Kojima figured that out 20 to 25 years ago, about how the AI would like take over, and like the AI, the way he saw an AI takeover of the world was like, because at the time everybody was like predicting like the Terminator thing. The AI is gonna destroy us all. The AI is gonna do all this stuff. They're gonna come in with the robots, and they're gonna shoot everybody, and they're gonna. Everybody was predicting that, but then comes Kojima, and then he's like, no, actually, the AI is just gonna it's just gonna flood the internet with AI slop, and we won't be able to tell what's real or not. It's like, I was like, everybody was like, yeah, whatever, man, who cares? That storyline was completely forgotten for 20 years until it resurfaced like 5 years ago, where people were like, hey, wait a minute, we are literally in the middle of the dead internet theory over here, you know? And it's like Kojima literally predicted the dead internet theory. And it's like, how do these people do this? It's like they're from the future, you know? It's
yeah.
so surprising how all of this connects. I mean, I'm gonna link the Kojima, the video from Metal Gear in the description, because it's just so
Uh-huh.
crazy. Everybody really needs to see it, because it's so insane how much is predicted of the current internet, and the current like society. I mean, just like Cyberpunk 2020 predicted, the current political climate, and it's actually scary that both of those worlds don't end, in a good place.
Yeah.
It's like, so we have two running predictions that are turning out to be real, and it's like, ooh, what is gonna happen now?
Yeah, but like the main storyline in Cyberpunk 2020 then, how does it, okay, maybe spoiler alert, but how does it go? How does it end?
Well, I mean, it doesn't. I'm not sure at which part. I
Does it
mean,
mean the end of the world or
it's not the end of the world, because the storyline goes into 2077. You see how it goes.
yeah,
But I
but
mean,
it's still there. I mean,
yeah, I mean
the
the
world is
world.
still intact.
Yeah, the world keeps going. I mean, the U.S. collapsed as a superpower. It's split up into several nations. I mean, Texas is its own country now, and Southern California is also its own country. There's also the western northern states like Oregon,
Wait,
Seattle,
now
whatever.
you're talking about 2077, right?
2020. But of course, these
In
countries.
2020.
Yes,
Oh,
2020. But of course, these countries still exist in 2077. I mean, but they haven't really talked about them in the game, in the CDPR game, in the video game. They haven't really
yeah.
talked about this. But Texas is its own country, the Republic of Texas, and Southern California is its own country as well. Night City is a city state, so it's completely independent from the U.S. as well, and it's also independent from the Southern Californian Republic. Was it? I don't remember exactly. It's been a while. It's been a while really since I've read or seen any of this part of the lore. I should revisit it actually. It's been over 20 years. I mean, it was crazy.
Where
Maybe a
did you
bit
play it
less.
on?
A bunch of guys. I played it only
Was
once
it on
by
a
the way.
PC?
No. It's pen and paper. So like
Oh,
it's like you read the rule book. You gotta throw dice and that kind of stuff. You gotta make a.
oh,
So it's
like
like
Dungeons and Dragons,
yeah,
like.
yeah, 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 yeah. So it's like
Oh,
I man back. I played. I'm not a fan of pen and paper. I played it once. I thought the lore was way more interesting than playing the game because the game's like whatever. So I just read the lore and read stuff about it. But
hmm,
when I played it for the first time in 2002, I think. I think it was 2001, 2002. Around that time, I played it once, and I didn't. I mean, I'm not a fan, so I dropped it. But I just read the lore and kind of read this. But at the time, I was like, man, they need to make this into a video game. I was like, they need to look at Half Life. I literally said that. They need to look at Half Life and do Half Life, but then in Cyberpunk. And what happened when CDPR started making Cyberpunk? They said they took massive inspiration from Half Life. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. you know, I was like, yes, thank
oh
you.
man, you should have
Thank you.
written it down somewhere, man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I
Like
should
an
have.
email to yourself or something,
Yeah, I should have written it down. I actually make a
Yeah.
point of doing that these days, of writing down predictions that I do, like so
Oh.
just so I can have proof that
What was the
that I did it.
latest prediction
The
you made,
prediction that came out to turn out to be correct that I wrote down.
or just a prediction?
Oh, well, just a prediction. One off the top of my head, I remember when I left, the theater after watching Avengers Endgame in 2019. I
Yeah,
literally told my sisters that the moment I left the theater, I grabbed my phone. I was like, I want to write this now because I want to have it as a prediction for when it happens. I told my sisters in the family app, like, yo, I just came out and I said Marvel is officially creatively bankrupt. They have nowhere to go creatively. They have nowhere to go just on story.
like story wise, you mean?
Story wise, they have nowhere to go. Creatively, they have nowhere to go. They are done. I said literally, they are done. They should stop now, make no more movies, put the entire franchise on ice for the next 10 to 20 years, and just take money from merchandise and like t-shirts and shit and just selling DVDs or whatever, or or
Yeah,
Blu-rays or whatever. I said that's what they should do and stop
yeah, yeah,
because it's not
yeah.
gonna, because they are done. And what happened exactly? They were done. They were literally, it was over. When Endgame came out, it was the end of Marvel. And now Marvel, a lot of people just hate Marvel. People don't give a crap. Their movies are flopping and constantly. I knew it. I completely predicted it, and I have the prediction. I have the, I
Okay,
have
okay.
the thing. So yeah, it's
Show
good.
the screenshot. Try to show the screenshot. Yeah,
I'm gonna
in the
try to
video.
show the screenshot. I don't want to dox myself, or dox my
Yeah,
family. But
like
yeah,
but censor. Yeah, you can censor
I'm
your
gonna
name,
see.
of
I'm gonna
course.
see if I can grab the screenshot. But yeah, it's yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah, but yeah.
But then, yeah,
I mean, these predictions are pretty crazy, and it really kind of shows how powerful Cyberpunk is because, Metal Gear Solid. We just talked about Metal Gear Solid for a bit. Um,
all right.
Metal Gear Solid has a lot of cyberpunk elements. I mean, I would even categorize
Sure.
Metal Gear Solid as a cyberpunk media.
Well,
The-
I
you
mean,
know,
we don't. Yeah, most of the stories is in the past, right? Of Metal Gear Solid, so it makes it more difficult to make it cyberpunk, since it's cyberpunk has this futuristic feeling as well.
Well,
But
not
Metal Gear
really.
Solid, but sure, but Metal Gear Solid, of course, the word Metal Gear, it's a
Yeah,
huge robot and stuff. And
exactly.
yeah, in Metal Gear Solid 5, Snake has a prosthetic arm,
Yeah,
Jahuti.
Phantom Pain. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and yeah.
But I mean, Raiden is like a cybernetic guy.
Oh, so I
He's
totally
like
forgot about
complete
that guy, but
cyborg,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
dope, dope,
So
yeah,
it's like, yeah, and the military industrial complex and the corpos are massive in this game, you know. So it's like this whole thing. There's a lot of cyberpunk elements inside of Metal Gear, and because it's dealing with Metal Gear, it's dealing a lot with technology and internet and like connectivity and that a lot of
yeah.
that kind of stuff. A lot of it maybe people don't categorize it as cyberpunk exactly, but there's a lot of
No,
stuff in there that is like easily
yeah.
just cyberpunk, you
I
know.
I understand the. I mean, if we look at Kojima, that guy is cyberpunk itself as
Oh
well.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, you know for a fact. I know for I mean, not for a fact, but I highly
I mean, that
educated
guy loves
guess.
movies.
Yeah,
That
highly
guy loves
educated.
movies.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So I'm pretty sure he saw Serial Experiments Lane. Highly educated guess, because Serial Experiments Lane is another one of those cyberpunk anime that is like the predictions it made were so insane about the internet and how people get lost in social media and all this stuff. This movie was talking about social media in 1998. It's like there were
yeah.
actually social media addicted people in Serious Experiment State. The main character became social media addicted, and
Oh, but how could you like
you know,
describe or illustrate how social media in that media looked like and the
it was
way
like a lot of
people
chat
were?
rooms, a lot of chat
Yeah.
rooms, but it was also a lot of like internet forums and like BBS and that kind of stuff. I mean,
And how were they addicted to it?
because they I mean, just like today, they had their entire social lives on there. They had and they kept up with the news and they kept up with everything. Everything was connected. Everything went through the net. You know, it was totally insane. You know, that's how it worked, and they got completely addicted into it. It predicted several things of internet and also internet culture. I remember one of the most famous quotes is the whole thing about internet activism, that people on the internet love to be activists, but all they do is just comment or like a topic and
Yeah.
that's it. They don't really do something like that. I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but it's very it was very surreal. How it like predicted that stuff, really. Let me see if I can find it, because it's like it's one of the best quotes in that show. Yeah, but it completely illustrates how it's how like modern things were predicted in the past. There's like so many examples of that. I can't find it exactly, but whatever, it's fine. I'll post a screenshot of it when I find it on the internet. I'll post a screenshot of what I'm talking about
Sure.
on the screen, that you can see the quote, because one of the scenes, one of the episodes, a character who's like kind of like coming off from his internet addiction, or something like that, starts complaining about how people on the internet act, and it's like, wow, how does this guy know about this in 1998? Actually, even in 1996, 1997, because they released it in 1998. The show, of course, took like a couple of years to make, so it's like, you know, it's like, I mean, people were barely just having some kind of modem internet at the time. It's like they didn't even know what a browser was. Windows 95 was just barely a thing. You know, it's so insane how these people can predict these things. It's pretty very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
The this is the so Serious Experiments Lane, Cyberpunk 2020, and Metal Gear Solid 2. These things have the most scariest real life accurate predictions I've ever seen of anything. So it's very impressive how that went. I mean, yeah, we'll see how that ends up with the whole thing, Panama thing with the U.S. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's
because
scary as hell, man.
okay, so these media, they predict the because of these actions, it'll mean the potential downfall of the US, right?
Yeah,
But Trump, he isn't, he doesn't want the US to downfall, right?
no, but
He wants to fix it.
yeah, but so did the guys in the Cyberpunk game. But the decisions they make, cause problems. And just like what happened in Cyberpunk 2020, because of the foreign policy decisions, the U.S. is becoming isolated from the international community. You know,
Right.
so what happened then was that the EU started looking for partners elsewhere, and they created an international alliance with several other countries, and excluded the U.S. The U.S. wasn't invited. This is 2020 lore. The U.S. was excluded. Japan, the EU, and a couple of, I think Australia as well. They joined up or something like that. I'm not exactly sure on the details anymore. I'm gonna have to look it up if I want to know for sure. It's been a while since I read it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's they joined together in this new alliance or something, and
For trade.
yeah, for trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for trade, for military, blah blah, all this stuff. And the U.S. was basically just isolated completely, and the entire country collapsed because just like with the whole terrorist thing, and Canada getting tariffs, and the EU getting tariffs, the tariffs have the issue that they can isolate the country levying the tariffs. So the U.S. is really on the brink of getting completely isolated if they continue on this course, which is exactly what happened in 2020 in the Cyberpunk 2020 lore. So yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so bizarre how it's so much alike, down to even the Panama Canal thing. It's like, how is this possible? So many details are completely
Yeah.
correct.
The accuracy of the predictions.
Yeah. It's insane how accurate the prediction is, down to the details. I mean, like I said earlier, most cyberpunk stories have kind of like this, and yeah, the corpos took over. Whoa, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of thin on the details on how did this happen and
Yeah.
how blah blah blah. It's like,
I
yeah,
mean, now it's accurate as in, yeah, Mr. Corpo Musk.
oh yeah,
Elon
oh
Musk.
Elon Musk. That's a whole other thing. It's like Elon Musk thinks he is the cyberpunk. He
Uh-uh.
thinks he is fighting the. That I am pretty sure he thinks he's the cyberpunk, but he doesn't realize he's the corpo. He's the one cyberpunks are fighting, and this thing is turning into an actual corpo war because the the protests against Elon Musk and the Tesla cars, burning of them, that is
Oh.
some Cyberpunk 2020 shit. That is
Oh, yeah,
that is
definitely.
corpo war stuff. That is like straight out of Akira as well.
Yeah,
Burning all
man.
this
Yeah.
stuff, all these protests. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But he thinks he's the cyberpunk. I'm like, wow, dude, you're not a punk. You're
Yeah, I
not.
mean, he's a punk.
Yeah, sure. In that terminology, yeah, he's a punk, but he's not a punk like cyberpunk. Hell no.
Right.
He's like,
Yeah.
man, I don't get it though. And it's also hilarious
But
that
that's also, yeah.
he comes out with a Cybertruck. When he came up with the Cybertruck, I was like, okay, he's this big fan of cyberpunk stuff. Yeah. So that kind of solidified it for me that he's trying to make the cyberpunk future, but he still thinks he's like the little guy trying to beat the big corpos. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe 20, 30 years ago when he was like sleeping on the floor at the YMCA. because he didn't have a house, and he had just office for his for
But
PayPal.
still, it's
You know,
also so crazy that the typical image of Cyberpunk Corpo.
yeah,
Yes, this guy, as in, okay, he has cyber trucks and
yeah,
vehicles, but hey, Neuralink is fucking
yeah, yeah, and he
sim,
also
sim
yeah,
cybernetic.
yeah,
It's fucking cybernetic,
cybernetics.
and he's a corpo as well, and he's like almost on top of the world.
Yeah, and he owns a space company. I mean,
Oh my god.
Elon Musk is turning into Arasaka. He's literally turning into Arasaka. Next thing we
But not as
need
cool though.
they Tesla, by the way. Yeah, exactly, not as cool. Another thing, Tesla had a defense contract with the US Army as well, where they were gonna sell armored cyber trucks to them. 400
Holy
billion
shit.
$400 billion. So they're a defense contractor as well. Elon Musk is literally turning into Arasaka.
Yeah.
It's so freaking scary.
Holy shit. Cyber truck, cyber tanks.
Yeah, yeah. Space, internet, Neuralink. I mean, next thing he's gonna try and develop the freaking that freaking chip in the brain thing. What I forgot the name from
That's the Neuralink, right?
No, that's not the Neuralink thing. Is the is just a cybernetic interface thing, but the chip in the brain. Shit, I can't believe I have like
like
600 hours in the game. I forgot the word, forgot the name of the chip that they were stealing out of the Arasaka building.
Santa Vista.
No, Santa Vista is the time speeding up slowdown thing. I can't believe it. Sorry guys, I forgot the name of the chip. The biochip that they were stealing from Arasaka. I forgot the name of the technology, but yeah, that technology. That's if they start making that shit. Oh man, the back up your soul technology.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
What's it? Okay, now we're really
I don't know
into
what it's called, but
what's the name of the thing? The technology. Oh well, whatever. Soul killer is what they use to copy the soul, anyways. So it's fine. It's so crazy, man. All of these things and how
because it's so real. It's so real.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I just miss the cyberpunk buildings in the Netherlands.
Yeah, we have a few.
I mean, Rotterdam is getting there.
We have a few.
I mean, taller buildings are coming and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of sucks because we have all the annoying shit from Cyberpunk, but none of the cool stuff. It's like all this annoying corpo crap. We were getting that.
Oh yeah.
And then, but we don't have the cybernetic arms or the robots or whatever. It's like, ugh.
Not yet, man.
Not yet. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if we're gonna have this shitty ass freaking government, freaking overlords, if we're gonna have these people, just at least kind of have my cybernetic robot arm or whatever, or a cybernetic body.
I mean,
please,
Boston Dynamics, their devices are getting better, right? So
Boston.
I mean, I can imagine that the robots they currently have, that version, that they can actually use it, like parts of it, like so the arm of a robot to inspire people who make, or companies who make prosthetic arms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
make a deal.
Yeah, I mean, in one of our earliest, I think episode 2 that we talk about what kind of device do we need to actually have a actual robot revolution, and that Boston Dynamics robot, that newest one, that's the kind of device we need. Because otherwise it's not gonna happen. It's too normal. Robotics are too fragile.
And I feel that it's still the beginning of that robot.
It's the beginning.
It's crazy.
It's the beginning.
Yeah,
so
man.
They're doing good work
because robots are cool, man.
Robots are cool. I'm looking forward to that. And Boston Dynamics hasn't been this crazy corpo asshole company yet. I mean, yet. Emphasis on yet. But we'll see how that develops. We'll see. Yeah.
And on that note, guys, dear listeners and viewers,
yes,
Support us, please, by liking and subscribing to our channel. Like our video, and so we can make more of this cyberpunk content.
Yeah, and join the Discord.
And join the Discord. See the link down in the description below.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.